Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
Good evening and welcome to News at 9. Coming to you live from our Newsfirst centres here in Colombo. I'm Katrina Chang and these are your tonight's headlines. A journey cut short. A tragic accident in Arlaganville leaves 10 dead and 8 injured. President of the United Nations General Assembly confirms his participation for the World Conference on Youth in Sri Lanka. As the Indian election battle heats up, the ruling Congress says that no court has given a clean chit to Modi in 2002 Gujarat riots. Former cricket captain Kumar Sangakkara submits his resignation from international T20 cricket. Let's now join the main news desk for details of these stories and much more.
Well, thank you very much, Katrina Chang, for bringing us the headlines. Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. First, a look at the stories, local stories for this evening. 7 shops have been damaged in a fire opposite the economic centre in Dambulla. Now, according to our correspondent in the area, the fire had erupted in a row of shops in the Dambulla town. He further said that steps are underway to douse the fire with the assistance of the fire brigade and the police. The cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. Newsfirst will keep you updated on the developments of this story. Stay with us.
Well, it was a ride that ended in tears. A tragic accident was reported in Arlaganville today.
The victims were visiting relatives in lieu of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
The number of dead stood at 10. Among the victims were 4 children.
A group from Dehiyathakanja and Nikawattalanda, who were visiting relatives in Sevanagala in view of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, met with this tragic accident in Arlaganville. The hand tractor in which they were travelling in had veered off the road and fallen into the ZD canal near Alutoya. According to the police, the accident had occurred at 2 this afternoon, and the tractor was carrying 21 persons, including its driver, at the time of the accident. The accident claimed the lives of 10 persons, and area residents managed to rescue many of those who were drowning in the ZD canal. The rescued and the injured were admitted to the Arlaganville hospital. 5 of the injured continue to receive treatment at the Arlaganville hospital, while 2 others were transferred to the Polonnaruwa hospital. The 10 victims include 4 women and 4 children.
You reporter Vasanta Tennakon filed this report from Kahatagas, Tigiliya.
One person died in a motor accident in the Rakpatwala area along the Trinkumali main road in Anuradhapura last night. The body of the victim is currently lying at the Kahatagas Digiliya Sona Hospital. The vehicle has fled the scene after the accident. There were pieces of glass on the road. An investigation has been launched to arrest the driver of the vehicle.
Mama Newsfirst, you reporter Vasanta Bandara Tennakon, Sampathila Kahatagas Tigiliya.
Well, the police say that 3 lines of investigation have been undertaken into the attack on a group of UNP parliamentarians who visited the Mathale Airport and Hambantota Port yesterday. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana added that in the event it is proven that police officers at the scene had foregone their duties, the law will be enforced against them.
The protest broke out when UNP MPs Ajit P. Pereira, Ajit Manna Peruma, Eran Wickramaratne, R. Yogarajan and Nalin Bandara Jamaha engaged in an inspection tour of the Mathale Airport and the Hambantota Port yesterday. The MPs were also faced with a protest when they visited the Hambantota port. The mayor of Hambantota had arrived at the scene and took steps to remove the MPs from the premises. The MPs were obstructed once again at the entrance to the port. The MPs left the Hambantota area noting that they would lodge a complaint with the police headquarters. Travelling in the same bus that was attacked, the group of MPs arrived at the police headquarters in Colombo last night, where they lodged a complaint.
We informed the authorities and visited the Matale airport and the harbour. Just as we were concluding our inspection tour of the Matale airport, a group of thugs led by influential politico harassed us. This happened inside the administrative building of the port. It was not outside on the streets. The mayor of Hambantota, Iraj Fernando, and a large group that accompanied him attacked us. They harassed us immensely. We also saw the mayor of Hambantota, Iraj Fernando, chasing after our bus, brandishing a pistol, accompanied by another group of thugs. This is a very serious issue.
ඒ වගේම අපි දැක්කා නගරාධිපති ඉරාජ් ප්‍රනාන්දු පිස්තෝලයක් අරගෙන අපේ බස් රථයේ පිටුපසින් හබාගෙන ඉන්නේ. තවත් මර කණ්ඩායමක් එක්ක. නිසා මේක ආම බරපතල කාරණයක්.
අපි කාරණා තුනක් ඔස්සේ විමර්ශනය කරනවා.
3 lines of investigation have commenced. The first is regarding the individuals who were involved in the incident, the brandishing of a pistol and disturbing the peace. The second is regarding the officers of the Hambantota police who were on scene. We will look into whether they had foregone their duties. Have they been negligent in failing to arrest suspects? The third fact is that 2 police officers have been assigned as a security detail for each of these MPs. There were 5 MPs at the scene. This means that there should have been 10 police officers on their security detail. Were all of them there? If not, why? Did they follow security procedures? We are investigating these factors too, and we hope to initiate the necessary legal and disciplinary action.
මේ කරුණු සම්බන්ධයෙන් උත් අපි විමර්ශනයක් කරනවා. ඊට අදාළව සියලු විමර්ශන සිදු කර අවශ්‍ය නීතිමය පියවර ඒ වගේම විනයානුකූල පියවර ගැනීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Meanwhile, MP Sajid Premadasa had condemned the attack on the group of UNP parliamentarians. Issuing a media release, the MP pointed out that the events that transpired yesterday had violated the right of public representatives and citizens of this country to inquire into the operations of public property. The statement reads further that space cannot be allowed for the suppression of this sovereign citizen's right through cruelty and malice, adding that the situation is much graver given than such events transpired at a time when unfortunate opinions are arising against Sri Lanka internationally. He also notes that the photographs of persons who were involved in the harassment and of local political brandishing a firearm have already been released to the world. MP Premadasa concludes that the responsibility of a truly patriotic administration is to conduct a transparent investigation into this incident, which has placed a black mark on the country, and to expeditiously enforce the law against those responsible.
ඉතින් මන්ත්‍රීවරු මේක බලන්න යනකොට යම් යම් ප්‍රකාශ කරලා
The people in that area had protested against the MPs who had made various statements when they visited. Therefore, as a government, none of us need to oppose this public protest. We are all aware that the opposition civilly criticized the Magampura Mahinda Rajapaksa International Harbour in the recent past, saying there was a rock there and that ships were not coming there. The people listened to this and the people witnessed this. The people living in those areas are now working in these institutions. Today, the people in those areas are able to sell lunch packets, king coconuts and other products because the economy has been strengthened. What happened here was public protest.
It has been reported that amongst those who behaved in an unruly manner yesterday were local politicians and their supporters.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa nominated a High Commissioner and 2 ambassadors for 3 countries today.
The Ministry of External Affairs said that the current Sri Lankan High Commissioner to India, Prasad Karyawasam, has been nominated as the new Sri Lankan ambassador to the United States of America. Former Secretary of the Ministry of External Affairs, Karunatilaka Amanugama, has been appointed as the Sri Lankan ambassador designate to Germany. Meanwhile, the former Director General of the Central Cultural Fund, Professor Sudarshan Seneviratne, has been named as the new Sri Lankan High Commissioner to India. Meanwhile, President spokesperson Mohan Samaranayake announced that Lakshman Hulugalla, who was the Director General of the Media Centre for National Security, has been appointed as the new Sri Lankan Deputy High Commissioner to Australia. President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited several sacred sites in Anuradhapura today, including the Jayashree Mahabodhi.
The president, who first worshipped the Artemasthana, subsequently visited the Ruwan Valley Mahasaya and engaged in religious observances. The president then called on the chief incumbent of the Ruwan Mahavali Saya, Venerable Pallegama Hemaratana Thero, and engaged in a cordial discussion with the pilgrims who had arrived in Anuradhapura. The president also called on the chief incumbent of the Miriswatiya Rajamahaviharaya, Venerable Ithalavatuna Vave Jnanatilaka Thero. Last evening, the head of state visited the Sri Sambuddhatva Jayanti Vihara and the Lankarama Vihara in Anuradhapura and obtained blessings.
The Department of Meteorology forecasts that many areas in the country will continue to experience thunder showers. The department adds that lightning strikes will also occur during the downpours. Meanwhile, 2 persons were killed in a lightning strike in the Ahaliyagoda area. Newsfirst Prasad Rupasinghe filed this report on the prevalent adverse weather in the country.
Lightning occurs when there is a thunder shower. During the past 3 months, 10 lightning-related deaths were reported. The most recent lightning-related death was reported from the Yayaparu area in Ahaliyagoda. 2 persons herding cattle were killed in the lightning strike.
They went to muster the cattle. They were struck by lightning suddenly and we took them to the hospital.
The victims were 68-year-old A.D. Somapala and 78-year-old M.K. Salman. Our correspondent said that both victims were bachelors. They had gone to an open field to muster their cattle when tragedy struck.
This cannot be prevented. We need to save ourselves from this danger. Lightning strikes can take place even when there is dry weather. We need to realize that when there is thunder, a lightning strike will follow.
What precautions do we need to take to prevent lightning-related accidents? The Department of Meteorology says that one can prevent falling victim to lightning strikes by adhering to the following instructions. Avoid being out in any open areas like fields, golf courses or parking lots. Don't stand under tall objects like trees or towers. Avoid travelling in open vehicles. Lightning strikes can also occur when using electric appliances during thunder showers, bathing in open areas, use of mobile phones and engaging in farming activities. The department requests the general public to refrain from committing the above to prevent lightning-related accidents. Thunder showers can also take place during the active monsoon season. Thunder showers are usually accompanied by gale force winds. Gale force winds that swept through the Mahakachikodia area in Vavuniya last evening caused damage to 15 houses. A correspondent in the area said that 10 of the houses were badly damaged. Locals in the area said the gale force winds were accompanied by a heavy downpour.
We heard a loud noise. Then we noticed strong winds that swept through the area. The trees were shaking and there were lightning strikes. The roof was blown away.
3 persons who were injured were admitted to the Vavuniya General Hospital.
A rock fell on my head. I did not know what happened. When I came to my senses, my daughters were with me. Her head was also injured. Due to the prevalent inter-monsoon weather pattern, the atmosphere above the island is active. Though the weather in the day is very sunny and warm, thunder showers can be expected during the evening hours. This is not limited to 1 or 2 provinces. The entire country will face this situation.
Meanwhile, strong winds have damaged over 50 houses in the Vilgamu area in Matale. Assistant Director of the Disaster Management Centre Pradeep Kodipilli said that 3 houses were completely destroyed. The gale force winds had affected 3 Grama Seva divisions in the area. Meanwhile, gale force winds that swept through the Thirappan area in Anuradhapura caused damages to 18 houses. Let's now take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. A 7.5 magnitude earthquake was reported in Guerrero, Mexico. A tsunami warning has not been issued. Newsfirst will keep you posted on this story. The general elections in the world's largest democracy are currently underway.
That's right, Arundhati, and what a grandiose display of democracy it is. In fact, 815 million voters over 9 phases over 5 weeks. In a country where a myriad of body markings, jewelry and turban styles can differentiate people by caste, region or tribe, an ink mark applied on every voter's finger at the polling booth is a rare unifying feature. Amid crowds of Indian people heading to the polls on the biggest day of the country's general election, the ink used to mark voters' hands to prevent fraud was flashed by many as a badge of universal democratic privilege.
Prime Ministerial candidate of India's main opposition Bharatiya Janata Party, Narendra Modi, said ruling Congress parties would be punished for its sins, referring to misgovernance and a raft of scams.
Congress will be punished for its sins. Nothing can save the Congress. When the DMK is in power, it is busy destroying the AIA-DMK. When the AIA-DMK is in power, it is very busy destroying the DMK. They don't have time for people. Tamil Nadu claims Sonia doesn't act. That is why fishermen are being killed. Madam Sonia Gandhi blames Jairam Jayalalitha and Jayalalitha blames Madam while fishermen are dying.
India's ruling Congress party attacked Prime Ministerial candidate of main opposition Bharatiya Janata Party, Narendra Modi, over his involvement in 2002 riots in western province of Gujarat and said Modi had not been granted a clean chit by any top court.
उच्च न्यायालय का अंतिम निर्णय नहीं आया, उच्चतम न्यायालय का अंतिम निर्णय नहीं आया, लंबित है, यही मुद्दा। तो जब वहां क्लीन चिट मिलेगी न्यायालयों में तब बोलेंगे आप या इस प्रकार की क्लीन चिट की बात करते हैं? क्योंकि निर्णय और न्याय कोर्ट्स करते हैं. क्राइम्स आर नॉट जज्ड इन इलेक्टोरल वर्डिक्ट्स. Crimes are not judged by electoral verdicts. Otherwise, Hitler and Mussolini would never be considered criminals. But history considers them criminals on the basis of their acts, not on the basis of the elections they won or the margin of victory.
Scion of Nehru Gandhi dynasty and the ruling party vice president Rahul Gandhi said the ongoing general election was a battle between ideologies of the Congress party and the main opposition Bharatiya Janata Party.
काम करो मुझे आप.
In Delhi, they have put up posters saying give power to women, and in Gujarat, phone tapping, CID and different things. I want to tell them that there is no need to give strength to women. They have a lot of strength. But more than that, give respect to women and leave everything else. They don't need any strength, but they just need some respect and they will change India. They do not want India divided between rich and poor. When they go to Maharashtra, they beat people from Bihar and living over there. When they go to Karnataka, they beat women. In Gujarat, they beat farmers and make them run away. Their politics is the politics to divide and to create fight between people and the politics of anger. Our politics is of brotherhood, love and uniting people.
एक व्यक्ति को दूसरे व्यक्ति से मिलाने की. नमस्कार, जय हिंद.
Now we here at Newsfirst have been following the Indian general elections very closely since the dates of the polls were announced. Now we have our correspondents based in New Delhi, Chennai and Karnataka. Our bureau correspondent based in New Delhi is A. Valamarthi. He joins us now for more on the very latest.
Person who is challenging Modi is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. But since it is a new party, there is no possibility that he could gain a significant number of seats. The regional parties who have formed the other alternative called the Federal Front. This is a significant turning point in Indian politics. In the sense that previously the alternative to BJP and Congress have been named as the Third Front. The Third Front have always been a coalition of state-level parties. and they have always voiced for the rights of the state party of that case, Almadi and from New Delhi.
Now, while there are several regional parties and the Aam Aadmi Party who could turn out to be kingmakers at this election, these are the two main contenders who are in the spotlight at this general election. Rahul Gandhi, the scion of the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty that has been at the centre of Indian politics, and Narendra Modi, who is being hailed as a champion of industry and growth. Will India opt to pass the baton to the next Gandhi, or will the Indian voter opt for the fresh face of Narendra Modi? We will find out on the 7th of May. But who are they and what do they stand for? Tomorrow on India Decides, we take a close look at the lives of the two main contenders.
President of the United Nations General Assembly, Dr. John Willian, has confirmed his participation at the World Conference on Youth 2014, which is scheduled to take place in Sri Lanka in May. Now, according to a communique issued by the Government Information Department, in addition to the President of the General Assembly, UN Secretary General Special Envoy on Youth, Ahmad Al-Hendawi, and several other heads of United Nations agencies have confirmed their participation at the WCY 2014.
The World Conference on Youth 2014 will be held between the 6th and the 10th of March at the BMICH. The opening ceremony is scheduled to be held at the Runuma Gampura International Convention Centre in Hambantota. 1,500 participants are expected to attend the World Conference on Youth this year.
The Around the World team, who are on a goodwill tour to promote the upcoming World Conference on Youth 2014, which is to be held in May this year, is currently in Netherlands. Newsfirst Ramesh Galbandara filed this report.
Around the World in 40 Days.
The Around the World in 40 Days team took part in a special event at the official residence of the Sri Lankan ambassador to the Netherlands to create awareness on the World Conference on Youth. Several prominent personalities were present at the event along with several youth representatives. One of the national delegates of Netherlands that will represent the country at the conference handed over the Dutch national flag to our team.
So when they asked me to put a youth group to introduce Sri Lanka, I was thinking what to do. Here I am, primarily we are handling Permanent Court of Arbitration, International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court, Common Fund for Commodities. Suddenly I have this youth thing. So I started looking into this youth, to my surprise. Actually, I knew a little bit about this, but I didn't realize how much youth playing an important role in the world, especially in the future.
For me personally, food security and poverty eradication is most important. I lived in India for 10 months, I was in Kenya for 8 months. I saw people there who had to live on less than $1 a day, which is in my eyes unbelievable in 2014 where we are living now. So I think for us it's a great challenge.
The publisher of the global The Hague magazine also shared his views on the event.
This is a fantastic event, and Sri Lanka should be proud to host such a major event for youth. And I think we all realize that the youth have got the world, and that they are the ones who need to bring us a step further.
Following the conclusion of the event, the team departed for Valkenburg. Ramesh Galbandara for Newsfirst from The Hague, Netherlands.
Issuing a media release on the Sri Lankan government's warning that the LTTE is regrouping and plotting to renew its violent campaign for a separate state again, the National Peace Council says that the recent events of violence, which is the first LTTE-related violence since the end of the war, occurred soon after the passage of the UN HRC resolution calling for an international investigation into the last phase of Sri Lanka's war.
The release adds that the government has refused to cooperate with this investigation. The National Peace Council highlights that in the absence of a mutually acceptable political solution, the Tamil diaspora will persist on highlighting the concerns of civilians living in the former LTTE-held areas that continue to disrupt their lives in a variety of ways, reminiscent of the ground realities that prevailed during the war. The National Peace Council therefore urges the government and other political parties in the country to urgently set up institutions to enable the Tamil people to be given a measure of autonomy. The National Peace Council urges that the government of Sri Lanka must also discuss with the TNA a more inclusive political solution, adding that all parties should be honestly committed to develop and foster new, mutually beneficial relationships. It adds that the absence of dialogue between the different stakeholders weakens and leads to the destruction of relationships.
And on to a story that has been making the rounds in Indian media. Central Crime Station Police in Hyderabad, India have arrested 3 persons in connection with an international organ trafficking racket that came to light following the death of an Indian youth at a hospital in Colombo last month. The Times of India reports that the 3 arrests were made in Suryapet in Nalgonda district of Andhra Pradesh and in a village in the West Godavari district. The Times of India reports that the trio used to lure people from Andhra Pradesh into donating their kidneys for money. According to the report, a preliminary probe had found that the youth had gone to Colombo to sell his kidney for about 1.5 million Indian rupees and that he had contacted the brokers in India to fix the deal through posts on various websites. Meanwhile, the police media spokesperson confirming that an Indian youth had passed away recently at the National Hospital in Colombo maintained that the cause of death was an aortic aneurysm. SSP Ajit Rohana added that the police had not received reports that the youth was in Sri Lanka to sell his kidney. He added, however, that in the event the Indian police seek assistance in their investigation, the Sri Lankan police is prepared to render such assistance. The youth from the village of Kotagudem in Andhra Pradesh, India, 26-year-old Dinesh Kumar Maru, mysteriously died in Colombo, Sri Lanka after he left his home on March 22nd. The Times of India reports that Dinesh's family only came to know that he was in Sri Lanka after he called up his younger brother on the 26th of March. According to the report, the family had received a call from the Sri Lanka police on the 30th of March regarding Dinesh's death. The family says that the police attributed his death to a heart attack. Dinesh's body reached Hyderabad on the 3rd of April and he was cremated at his native place the next day. The Times of India reports that the organ racket came to light when one of Dinesh's brothers grew suspicious and checked the latter's emails and Facebook account, where he chanced upon a string of email conversations between Dinesh and an organ trader, following which he lodged a complaint with the Central Crime Station Police in Hyderabad, India. The report reads further that in Colombo, Dinesh was given an advance amount of the money by the organ traffickers. Indian police sources told the Times of India that Dinesh had used this money to consume copious amounts of liquor, following which he had wandered on the beach during the daytime for several hours and had gotten sunstroke. They added that he was then admitted to hospital in an unconscious state where he died of dehydration while undergoing treatment. Now, Newsfirst also made inquiries regarding this from the National Hospital in Colombo. When contacted, Dr. Kapila Vikramanayake, the Deputy Director of the hospital, confirmed that the Indian youth had been admitted to the hospital at 4:25 p.m. on the 28th of March. However, he said that the youth was pronounced dead at 4:40 p.m. the same evening. He added that the youth's kidneys were intact at the time of death.
3 police teams have been deployed to apprehend a gang of thieves who broke into a jewellery store in Negombo and made off with cash and jewellery. The theft at the jewellery store in the Negombo town had occurred at around 7:30 last night. The theft was captured by security cameras set up at the store. The 6 armed thieves wearing full face masks had arrived at the location in 3 motorcycles. The police say that the thieves had made off with cash and jewellery worth 3 million rupees.
Now, according to the Catholic faith, it was on this day that Jesus Christ sacrificed his life to save the world from sin. The Bible says that Jesus bared the cross of sin on his shoulders and made the toiling journey to his death on Mount Sinai. Known as Good Friday, Catholic devotees around the world dedicate this day to remember this great sacrifice. Marked as a holy day in the Christian calendar, it was on this day that Jesus Christ sacrificed his life to save the world from sin. According to the book of Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 5 in the Bible, it is said, "But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed." Jesus dedicated his life to spread the message of love and peace amongst humanity. With his death, he showed the world the highest human quality of forgiveness to not only those who sentenced him to death, but also tortured him. Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Through this verse, it is clearly depicted that Jesus forgave those who tortured him. In the Bible, it also highlighted that through Jesus' death, humanity will be granted the gift of everlasting life. The book of John, chapter 1, verse 10. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Through this verse, it was confirmed that by sacrificing his life, Jesus Christ saved the world from sin. Well, special services were conducted across the island to commemorate Good Friday.
In business news this evening, in spite of the fact that the Central Bank of Sri Lanka reported a significant drop in poverty levels last year, official government statistics show that 9 districts in the country are below the poverty line. The Department of Census and Statistics notes that the monthly expenditure of an individual in these districts on basic needs is less than 3,811 rupees.
The poverty threshold or poverty line is the minimum level of income deemed adequate in a particular country. The Department of Census and Statistics lists the poverty threshold at 3,811 rupees as at the end of March. This translates into daily expenditure per capita of 127 rupees, less than $1 a day. Notably, people in 9 of 22 districts surveyed by the Department of Census and Statistics are living below the poverty line. However, as per the recently unveiled 2013 annual report of the Central Bank, poverty in Sri Lanka has fallen to 6.5%.
According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, per capita income per month is now more than 46,000 rupees. We need to think about how realistic it is to consider people who spend less than $1 a day as poor, when the monthly per capita income is more than 46,000 rupees. I believe that the threshold must be increased to $2. If we consider people who spend less than $2 a day as poor, I believe it would cause poverty in our country to be at about 30%.
And on to international news now. An official of the joint investigation team investigating the ferry disaster in waters of South Korea says that the captain of the stricken South Korean ferry may not have been on the bridge when the vessel capsized.
The investigation into the sinking South Korea's worst maritime accident in 21 years in terms of potential loss of life has focused on the role of the 69-year-old captain and the crew of the ship. The investigation team searched the headquarters of the owner of the vessel yesterday. They were seen carrying away boxes of documents and computer hard disks. The company is an unlisted company that operates 5 ships. It reported an operating loss of $756,000 last year. It is normal for junior officers to take the helm, and the 400-kilometer journey from the mainland port of Incheon to the resort island of Jeonju was a regular trip in familiar waters. The accident happened in calm, shallow waters, and investigators have focused on the role of the crew as the vessel appeared to have a clean safety record. Experts say it is now unlikely that any of the 268 missing passengers, many of them students from a high school on the outskirts of the capital Seoul, will be found alive. Cranes that will be used to try to salvage the sunken South Korean ferry at the accident site as a search for about 270 passengers still missing continues. The South Korean Coast Guard said it will review the options carefully as the salvage operations may hurt any survivors who may be trapped inside. Rescuers were pumping air into the dining hall of the vessel where many of the passengers were expected to be. South Korea's school held an emotional candlelight vigil to pray for their students who are still missing after a ferry capsized earlier in the week. The South's Yonhap News Television said about 500 students of Danwon High School and schools nearby in Ansan, a Seoul suburb, gathered to pray for the hundreds who are still unaccounted for, holding up paper with messages wishing for their safe return.
Moving on to sports news now. Kumar Sangakkara officially informed the chairman of selectors Sanat Jayasuriya in writing today of his retirement from T20 international cricket. Meanwhile, Nuski Mohammed, the treasurer of Sri Lanka cricket, says that letters were addressed to players who received central contracts inquiring into their availability for the upcoming tour of England and Ireland.
Letters have been addressed to the players as those in the national squad are yet to pledge their agreement to the terms of the central contracts. Players had rejected signing the contracts owing to a decision by SLC to not make payments to players from the amount received from the ICC for participating in ICC tournaments. The SLC treasurer added that if the players do not sign the central contracts, contracts would have to be agreed upon on a tour-by-tour basis. While the 26-player pool for the tour of England and Ireland has already been announced, the final 15-man squad is due to be announced in the near future. Speaking to Sports First, chairman of selectors Sanat Jayasuriya noted that the final squad would not be announced until a response is received from the players. Furthermore, he noted that the final squad would be selected from among those players who do sign the contracts. Sri Lanka's tour of England and Ireland will work off with an ODI against Ireland on the 6th of May.
And with that, we wrap up news at 9 for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudannaika.
Thank you very much, and I'm Nadim Majid, reminding you that you can keep abreast of all of the stories that we're following here at Newsfirst by logging on to our website, newsfirst.lk. Good night and good luck.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.